My name is Jitesh Jaggi. I am literally the only employee of National Indo-American Museum. We are very excited for you to see the actual museum, the building, and the artwork. The curator is here and a few of the artists also. So if you can please, to begin the program, join me in welcoming our president, Devin Khan.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today on what has turned out to be a beautiful day. As the National Indo-American Museum finally makes its transition from being a virtual museum to a brick and mortar live museum. But as all of us know, the story of Indian Americans in this country is much older. The contacts of India and America are much older. Like, for example, in 1718, this college in New Haven, Connecticut, changed its name to name after its benefactor, Elihu Yale, who actually earned his fortune as a merchant in Madras. And it was money earned in India that helped fund Yale University. So we are starting today with a wonderful exhibition, which all of you will get a chance to see, the Emerge exhibition. And that is just a start. Because for us, this museum is now a blank canvas. It gives us an opportunity to tell stories and flexibility to narrate and give us organized programs to document and tell the Indian American experience. Now, we started out, and we are very grateful to the Indo-American Center because they helped give birth to us. And for years, they gave us space to host our programs. And they also gave us space to be the official headquarters. And without that, we would not be here today. But now, having our own brick and mortar building, we have the flexibility and we have the ability to set programs and use our vision to narrate our stories. The Consul General is here today with us. He has been a very big supporter, and we have been very glad to work with him on events. Congressman Krishnamurthy will be with us shortly, and he has also been a very big supporter. He was actually one of the speakers at our gala a couple of years ago. But today, obviously, would not have been possible without the generosity of one couple, Dr. Umang and Paragi Patel. We are eternally grateful to their generosity, and we are very proud that this building is going to be the Umang and Paragi Patel Center. Thank you, all of us, for being with us on our journey. Thank you, all of you, for joining us today. And we look forward to all of you being with us in the future as the National Indo-American Museum moves from being a virtual museum to a living physical museum. Thank you very much. And with that, I would like to invite Dr. Umang and Paragi Patel.
Thank you all for coming. We really thank the Almighty to give us this courage, resources to help Indo-American Museum find their home. I really thank my better half, my family, to allow us to actually encourage me to do such nimble efforts to solidify our heritage, our very reason why we are in this adopted land. And without further ado, I really thank all of you for coming here. It is just a beginning on our part to provide you guys home. The real effort came from the board and the vision that we really loved it and joined our hands with them. So continue the very, very beautiful trailblazing work that the board has started. This is just the beginning. I think the plan is to replicate such activities, such museums in whole United States and maybe beyond United States, and that's why the name was changed from Indo-American to National Indo-American. So without further ado, I thank all of you again.
Thank you, everybody, for giving us the opportunity to do this such a beautiful job. And now you can see we have our granddaughter. These are the kids will see this museum and they will see who we are, where we come from, and what kind of the effort we made it by coming into America. So this is for Indo-American who came, the people from India and settled in America. Thank you.
The man who really doesn't need an introduction here, our congressman from the 8th Congressional District of Illinois, Raja Krishnamurthy, has been a consistent and regular supporter for NIAM, and we thank him deeply about that. Give a big hand to our representative, Mr. Raja Krishnamurthy, who kind of shares a name with me, Raja. So, yeah. And our representative in the Samosa Caucus. Go Samosa Caucus. Raja Krishnamurthy, please.
What a august gathering. As I like to say, it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to come someplace they can pronounce your name right. And so I'm just tickled to be with you here today. I want to observe those 3 rules of public speaking. Be short, be sweet, and be gone. And so I have 3 points that I want to make. First of all, can you give a big round of applause to the Patels, Umang and Paragi. The second point I want to make is give a big round of applause to the leadership of NIAM and all the volunteers, the board, the staff, the donors, and Raja, I like your name. And I'm so honored that the Consul General and his lovely wife could join us here today to celebrate, because, you know, Indian Americans are really coming into their own in this country, and NIAM is very appropriate. You can applaud yourself. You know, let me just tell you a little bit about you. The census was just released, the 2020 census, which basically counts the number of people in the United States and gives us a snapshot of who Americans are. And it turns out that the picture of Indian Americans is brilliant. Indian Americans are one of the fastest growing ethnic minorities in the country. It has 4.3 million people. It's the best educated group of people in the country, with almost 80%, yes, 80% of Indian Americans have a 4-year college degree or better. It has the highest, it's one of the most prosperous ethnic groups in the country, with one of the highest median household incomes, and it's one of the best looking groups of people I've ever seen. The point is that this group is getting stronger, it's getting more prosperous, it's getting better educated, it's getting better looking every year, but the most important thing is that it's giving back. That is the most important thing that it's doing, which is it's assimilating even more into the country. It's forming a bridge between the United States and India, the 2 greatest democracies in the world. It is planting its roots firmly in Terra America, even as it maintains its ties to its culture and its heritage, its history, and everything that makes us a very special group of people. And so I just want to congratulate you on being you. And so I'm honored and blessed to be with you here for just a few short minutes of your precious time to celebrate you, to celebrate NIAM, to celebrate everyone who made NIAM possible, and to celebrate how together we are going to make America a better place, as well as the world a better place. So thank you so much, and God bless all of you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm delighted to be joining you all at this launch of the museum building for the National Indo-American Museum. Now, as diplomats, we move every 2 to 3 years, essentially living from a container to container, moving cities, countries, adjusting to new cultures and environments. But we diplomats are secure in one knowledge, that we are eventually returning to India. So the issue of migration of a more permanent nature is something that has always intrigued me at a personal level. What does it mean to actually move your countries? And I think it is in that sense that NIAM is doing an exceedingly important job in connecting to the past collective memories of the first generation of Indians to provide a better understanding today. I think it is also equally important for the younger generation of Indian Americans to know their history in this country. NIAM's mission to document their struggles, the history of the immigration for the Indian American community, to take a stock of contemporary developments that have shaped their lives in this country. I think all these are very, very important objectives. This is the first time that we are going to have a physical space, so I think it will provide a fresh momentum to those efforts. In closing, I'll just say that this art exhibition, which will be showcasing contemporary artwork by 9 Indian American artists, is again a sense of reflection of how well settled the community today is, how they are marking new areas. If you were to go back a decade, I think such an exhibition would not have been possible. I would also, in conclusion, wish NIAM all success in their important endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We are delighted to have your presence today here. Next up, I would like to give a warm welcome to our past president and also somebody who really took this project at its helm, really directed the whole project of the exhibition that you will see today. We have our board member, Padma Rangaswamy.
First of all, I want to extend a really warm welcome to all of you this evening. We are the dreamers. We kept dreaming and dreaming and dreaming until someone came along and made our dream come true. So, thank you. Thank you so very much. You know, having a physical home is something that we've thought about off and on, and in this digital virtual world, the idea was that, oh, you can connect in so many different ways. But I think emerging from this COVID experience has taught us how important that face-to-face connection is. And that's what we were missing at NIAM, you know. We used to have events at, in the neighborhood on Devon Avenue. We would partner with other museums who loaned us their space. But there is nothing like having your own home. And we are so delighted to welcome you in this space that is now our home. All of us who are gathered here today, Indians, non-Indians, and you will see how much we are able to use the space in order to be able to connect with you regularly. Okay? This is, like I said, our first home, and we wanted to open it with another first, and that is bringing a group of Indian American artists together for the first time to represent the diaspora experience. You know, this is something that we are living every day. And one of the things that NIAM is really proud of is that it has always sought to be relevant. We talk about our history and how we want to preserve it and document it, but we know that we are living the very history that needs to be preserved. The National Indo-American Museum wanted to show that it could present something that was new and refreshing and provide inspiration for our younger generation so that they know that they can follow in the footsteps of the people who have created this beautiful art. In the range of mediums that they have chosen, from the mural that you have seen as you walked into the building, when you go, walked up here, when you go into the building, you will see that there are on-site installations. Many of these were made especially for NIAM, and we are honored that the artist chose to represent that kind of original work here. There are videos, there are sculptures, and entire room installations. It's really fascinating when you go in there and you see the techniques that the artists have employed are also extremely new and innovative. And I hope that's what will happen, that you'll bring your family and friends to come back and visit and see the art that's on display. Thank you all for having supported this exhibition in particular. I would now like to introduce the artist and start with Shaurya. Shaurya, could you please come up? I do want to say that he has been, so super special in putting all this together. For us, he's been a dream curator because he's an immigrant himself, and he kind of got it. The moment we told him, this is what we are thinking of, it felt like telepathy. He knew exactly how to shape this so that it truly spoke to the Indo-American experience. And we have the other two artists whom I'd like to invite, Nandita Raman and Kuldeep Singh. Please come on up. This is such a privilege to have artists here to whom you can address a bunch of questions you want. So with that, I have.
Thank you. I'll call you back. It's an auspicious moment. Of course, we are on the day of Dashera as well, which is itself worth celebrating and understanding the fact that we have our own devils that we have to conquer, right? And I think it sort of starts with that conversation, right? I think the entire idea of NIAM establishing in the country and a first museum of its kind dedicated to Indo-American is itself a momentum occasion and on an auspicious day itself. So, I think it was very fortunate that it did get postponed, but it got postponed to a remarkable ceremonious day as well. Of course, I would like to thank Dr. Patel and Paragi Patel as well to initiate this project, which I imagine would become an epicenter for a conversation for decades and decades to come, which I think this conversation was missing strongly and deeply as how enriching it can be. What the artists do in this exhibition is, at least my hope, is to ask those exact questions of what a diaspora means, whether it's a small d or a capital D. It breaks the preconceptions and the notions of what Indo-American means. And what it does is, as there is a hyphen between an Indo and American, it hyphenates the experience that people have carried with themselves coming from India and puts that into the perspective of today and contemporary and the future. And I think that aspect of the bridging that happens, of the possibilities, to break the preconceptions and to sort of confront your own demons, which do start to define yourself, but then you have to break away from, right? I think in every sense of it, a diasporic artist has to work even harder to counter that argument, to counter that preconception, and to break the brackets and the parentheses away by embracing what is there today. And I think all the 9 artists, and I'm very privileged that 2 of them are here, and they both flew from New York, but they are coming, all 9 of them are coming from very different backgrounds, from very individual experiences. So in addition to all the acknowledgements that Padma had made, I would say that the artists should be right on the top, because without their generosity, this exhibition would not be possible at all, right?
Hi everybody, happy Dashera. So I live in New York, and I'm from Banaras, Varanasi in India, and so what I'm finding is that it has to do with things that serve us in our own betterment, whether it is yoga, whether it is other forms of practice, spiritual or otherwise. So the work, I think, in some ways, strangely relates very much to this instinct, because it really started by trying to figure out who am I, but in a way where I wanted to peel out all the identities, of being, first of all, a daughter, a woman, a Banarsi, and then an Indian, and then when I came to the U.S., a person of color, a brown person, an immigrant, right? These identities are happening, are forming outside of us. Very easy to say that, but it has been so hard for me to unpack that and to become conscious of how I'm carrying those things as part of who I am, and literally as how I carry my body, how I dress up, how I use the physical space around me, and what sort of gestures I make. It's really a journey, not a particular journey, not a journey where there's an end point, not a journey necessarily for clarity, but a journey for exploration, and a journey where I think I am starting to embrace and understand the privilege of being both an insider and an outsider. So I really hope that you will come to it with your instincts rather than your rationale.
So Kuldeep is an incredible performing artist coming out of New York right now, but I should just tell you that Kuldeep was one of my first students ever when I started teaching back in 2004, when he was a first semester freshman, and it's been quite a journey with him as well.
So in terms of my own background as an artist, you'll see a video project from me in the basement and 3 paintings. Focusing for last 2 years, given the pandemic, because I have not been able to work out, been able to do productions, painting has taken back again its center, you know. And I think that's where the Ragamalas have come, which is the glossary index of representation, or the anthropomorphic representation of the musical melodies, spanning from 16th century AD in India and different small kingdoms of India, where the nature, we're all talking about nature, we're all talking about ecology right now everywhere. Nature takes a relationship with human beings and decentralizing human beings. Colors take over, music take over, a whole inner world of the musical melody is intertwined. And I think that's where, from last 3 years, I've been having conversations with some really amazing musicologists in Delhi and Punjab, where I basically come from, that what a Shruti is, you know, how do you relate color and rag together? And that's where I'm seeping aspects of gender, being a queer man. Where do you see the queerness? You know, I think those are the domains where one has to look back. It is not just one representation, what America is talking about right now, of queerness, of identity, of all sorts of perceptions. It's layered. And I think that layerness matters to me, which you see in my work, you know. So, thank you.
If I can please be joined by the reception's co-chair and also our very respected board member, Sujaya Rupani. Please give it up for her.
Just before I start, I have a very small surprise for all of you. If I could invite our very valued board member who just retired, Lakshmi Menon, to come onto the stage. And also please, Devin, please come to the stage. If I have to tell about Lakshmi, it will take, I think, hours together. But she has been with the museum from its inception, one of the founder members. She did various jobs. When I came onto the board, I really looked up to her. She guided me, and she's particular about all our newsletters and all the writings, and whatever else, if Raja can come up and add, that would be wonderful. So,
if I need any grammatical corrections, punctuation corrections, here's my friend. She's the one I rely on. But jokes aside, she's a wonderful human being. It was, as you all know, it was Lakshmi and Dorothy. We should recognize Dorothy wherever. Dorothy, please stand up. Lakshmi, Dorothy, and Padma. These 3 women, they are the ones. They are the founding mothers of our institution. And I admire and revere them. And then Happy and Gyan also joined them. So that's all I want to say. Lakshmi, it's your turn. I mean, this is really too much, you know. And I really appreciate the thought. Thank you. But I'm afraid you overstated. And without Dorothy and Padma, none of this would have happened. So I really can't think of two teammates. We were known as a three-legged stool. That's what our claim to fame is. Where's Padma? And then we were joined by the founding committee, which had Happy on it, and was there anybody else on the founding? Gyan was on the founding board. Yes. There's 3 stages of founding, right? So Gyan and anybody else? Prem Sharma. Prem Sharma was on the founding board. Yes. Prem was a past president too. And I sense that I may be exceeding the limits of our program, but this was totally a surprise, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody who had a role in the early days did get recognized, because nothing happens by oneself. And thank you for very, very much.
So the placard says, the Board of Trustees, National Indo-American Museum, salutes Lakshmi Menon, Board Member 2007 to 2021, Visionary Founding Member. Your unflagging dedication and generous spirit inspires us. June 2021. And I totally agree with that message.
Here's a mention of thanks to the following. I think it may be mundane, but please bear with me. Dr. Umang and Mrs. Paragi Patel, today wouldn't have happened without your generosity, which will be valuable for the generations to come. We thank each and one of the donors who've been donating to us for the last several years. Of course, Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, he makes time to attend, but he always is in and out. But he's come from 2017, 2019, and today. And we thank the Honorable Consul General, Mr. Amit Kumar, and Mrs. Kumar for accepting our invite and spending your valuable time with us. And we also thank Dr. Elizabeth Tenney, President of SAIC, and her husband, Dr. Peter Hertonic, Rose Milkowski, Vice President at SAIC, and her husband, Rob Milkowski. Thank you. And we thank Mr. Shaurya Kumar. Thank you. Okay. And the curator of this exhibition, your vision developed and guided this exhibition, and Tamara, your wise advice and hard work made this dream a reality to us. So all the artists, our special thanks to all the artists. I don't know what to say to you guys, but when I walked into your rooms, all I can tell you is what we felt. And with Jitesh Jaggi is here, without our ever-smiling program director. We understand the amount of work you put in, and the rest of the board of directors, especially Gyan. Whenever I lost my confidence, you made us stronger. Thank you. Last but not least, here's my committee. They work tirelessly, accepting calls at any time of the day or night, and the mighty talent of Madhulika and Beverly is just unsurpassable. Really, they work so hard. The whole marketing is on their shoulders, and they take the heat from all of us, really. And my partner, I don't know, I should say in crime, is Rajan Adimpali. She's always encouraging me. If I take any job, I always drag her in. And then lastly, to all the vendors, volunteers, and the press, my sincere thanks. And today is an auspicious day. Happy Dasara to all of you. And please make time to enjoy the Merge exhibition.